Hey, you. Yes, you. Stop what you're doing. Close your eyes for like a second. No, trust me. Imagine you're walking down the street, your shoes slapping the pavement with each step, but behind you there's something. Something strange. Your first thought is that it has to be an ape, but it stands up too tall for that. Way too tall. It looms over you by a good few feet, and your blood turns cold. Its body, its skin blends in with the night. You'll never see it coming if it attacks you. Its muscles are massive. It looks as though it could tear your head off in one swift movement. What will happen if it comes near you? Will it attack you? Rob you? Assault you? What will happen if it gets near your family? What's it going to be like if there are more of these lurking around your neighborhood? How will you stay safe from such a monster? But it's not a monster, is it? No. What I just described to you wasn't some unholy, hellish abomination. What I was describing to you was Shaquille O'Neal, or most other NBA players, to be honest. This is AJ White Media, and today I'm here to talk to you about... Let's start this off where the blockbuster history started off, with the movie Birth of a Nation. This movie helped to paint the cinematic image of black people. True, it also helped revitalize the dying Ku Klux Klan, is used to justify modern white supremacy, would help to inspire all propaganda films that followed it, contributed to several lynchings, makes the Confederacy seem like the reasonable ones in a war that was fought so they can profit off the backs of black people, and whose stereotyping has created countless problems for black people by making it seem as though our rights were meaningless and that we didn't have to literally fight for our lives in order to gain said rights. But we're ignoring all that for now. Instead, let's just discuss a single scene, one of the most infamous in the entire film, the scene between Gus and Flora. Gus is a recently emancipated slave who longs for Flora, the sister of Ben Cameron, I'd say hero, but he's a Klansman, so let's call him our protagonist. When she refuses to take Gus's hand in marriage and runs away, Gus chases after her. Undertones of rape in this scene are especially heavy, which is even weirder when you consider the fact that the vast majority of interracial rape was white men raping black women, but again, not the type of video. Note how Gus looks in these scenes. He doesn't run normally. It seems more primal and bestial, like any second he could pounce on her and have his way with her. He doesn't carefully tread up the mountain. He crawls around on all fours, slinking into bushes when he has to run. His eyes bulge out of his head as he maintains a psychopathic smile throughout the chase. Everything about the chase is being framed like a primal, ravenous beast is chasing after her. Flora is a classic damsel in distress, a young white girl trying to escape from a beast. Between the way her dress tears and her panic expressions, she's a classic Hollywood virgin final girl, attempting to preserve her innocence from such a demented beast. However, she does one thing the final girl is never supposed to do. She dies. Yes, the epitome of innocence and kindness would rather end its own life than become tainted by a person of color. Subtle. Now, this so-called monster ends up getting his comeuppance when he is lynched by the Klan, right? Because some people totally deserve to get lynched, right? It's not like the vast majority of lynchings had false stories built around them in order to justify the actions of psychopathic fascists who were just out to murder people who didn't agree with them. Again, different video. Anyway, it's not uncommon for the monster to be vanquished in the end. We've seen similar stories to this in King Kong, The Creature from the Black Lagoon, Day the World Ended, and so many more. Film culture placed women as a surrogate for our fear of change. The female protagonist in this film represents all that is pure, all that is normal. She is the literal symbol of the status quo. Throughout time, however, we've gotten a lot better at the art of subtlety. Our monsters are all wearing masks, but stripping those off makes it easy to see who's hiding underneath. You take off the mask of a 1950s alien, and you see a communist who wishes to invade your land and claim it for their own leaders. You take off the mask of Godzilla, and you see the imposing threat of nuclear annihilation looming over a small coastal nation. You take off the mask of Frankenstein's monster, and you see fear of not being accepted into society slowly degrade someone's sanity. Perhaps that makes it all the more fitting that the first monster was a white man in blackface, a man pretending to be something he considered a monster. You take off his mask, and you see a man whose fear drove him to hate. A man who has to convince all others he's not the monster. A man who has to convince himself he's not the monster. That black men and women and children were the monsters, that they would steal your women, your property, your rights, your freedom, your everything. They'd destroy everything around them and nothing could stop them. Only aliens and Frankensteins didn't exist. But we did. It was easy to grab the guns and pitchforks and torches to a monster that you can see, one that lived right down the block or whose grandfather worked on your grandfather's farm. It's even easier for your fear of the monster leading you to want to vanquish it so you can be a true patriot, a good old boy, a hero. Alfred Hitchcock once said, "The only way to get rid of my fears is to make films about them." Kind of funny how people still aren't any less afraid. Be sure to like and subscribe for new videos every Sunday.